The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion does a fairly decent job at scaling the levels of the player and the surrounding environment. Most NPCs will level with the hero of Kvatch as the major and minor skills increase. Armor and weapons are a great example of the world's ability to match the player's skill level. As your overall level goes up, the types of weapons and armor found in the wild will change. Suddenly, those rusty iron armor sets and swords will change for a complete elven and orcish influence with deadly dwarven and glass weapons. But if you're in the early game, it can take a while to reach these noble and prestige styles of smithing. What if I told you there's a bug in the game that allows the player to obtain Daedric style armor and weapons fairly early in the game? These combat pieces are not as good as real Daedric armor, and these are considered bound weapon and armor fragments. However, according to the lore, these are summoned from the plains of Oblivion, so technically they're Daedric in nature. The requirements for this bug are to have some skill in conjuration, and some gold to purchase spells and repair hammers. The higher your conjuration skill, the more you can get out of this glitch. There are some variables that will make it easier for you as well, like your race, star sign, class, and major skill selection. With all of that out of the way, let's get into the glitch. To begin, make sure you have your repair hammers on you, the spells to summon whatever bound armor and weapons you'd like, and then it also helps to be able to summon a skeleton or any mob that you can conjure, as this last step is extremely helpful, however not technically necessary. Start by summoning the skeleton, and then once the action is completed, you can conjure the desired weapon and armor. It might help to go one at a time to organize everything a little bit better. Once you have your bound conjuration and your skeleton, the time will start ticking. Begin attacking it so it can begin attacking you. If you're using bound armor, it's best to stand idle and block the hits, whereas if using a bound weapon, get as many hits in as possible. What this is doing for your conjured armor is lowering its durability by absorbing blows, and vice versa for going on the offensive with your summoned weapon. Make sure to defeat the skeleton before going on to the next step, as it won't work, but hopefully the timer has not run out yet on your bound weapon or armor, as now you're going to want to open up your inventory and head to the repair hammer section. When the repair hammer is selected, you'll notice that you can actually repair the bound weapon or armor almost as if it belongs to you. You don't have to restore it back to its full durability, but just one use should be fine. And you'll see that they actually take up a slot in your inventory. By going to the tabs of either armor or weapons, you should be able to access these pieces and drop them out of your inventory. Once dropped, wait for the summoning timer to end, and you'll notice that when it does, the weapons and armor will still be on the ground. These Daedric smithing products now belong to you, and you can use them for everyday travels without having to worry about them going back to the plains of Oblivion. The bound items will have a value of 0, but also a weight of 0, so you don't have to worry about adding to your total weight. If you accidentally conjure the items again, the ones already in your inventory won't despawn, however it does increase the risk of your game crashing. As expected, arrows are still finite with using the bow, so you'll have to stay on top of your arrow count. Skills can still be leveled up while using the glitched armor and weapons, particularly heavy armor, light armor, marksman, blunt, and blade. The bound dagger, light armor gauntlets, light armor boots, and light armor helmet are novice level spells, so those can be performed upon gaining the knowledge of doing said spell. The bound heavy armor greaves and one-handed axe are apprentice level spells, so some base knowledge of conjuration will be needed. The bound heavy armor cuirass, bow, and one-handed mace are journeyman level spells and might take a little bit to obtain the skills to conjure these items. Finally, the bound two-handed sword and light armor shield are expert level spells and will definitely take quite some time to be able to conjure them. Alternatively, the player can use spells like Major, Greater, and Superior Bound Armor to summon multiple pieces at a time, which would circumvent needing to summon as many individual fragments. Unless the player missions to level up their conjuring skill very early in the game, most of these items can be outpaced and replaced by better loot around Cyrodiil. The main benefit would be for having weapons and armor that don't weigh anything, so you can fill your inventory with potions, scrolls, and other consumables. Overall, it's a neat little glitch and an easy way to obtain Daedric aesthetic armor early in the game.